Shalom, shalom. I'm trying to get this thing. Why is it blank screen? All right, there we go. All right, there we go. Audio's good. All right, shalom, shalom, Akim. All right, this is your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. All right, the water Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, to laying the spirit upon me once again to come out here and to preach this beautiful gospel. All right, and to chant down Babylon the Great. All right, aka America. You see what I'm saying? So, as I come out here to hold camp, before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory into our power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wachak, Wadash. All right, double honors into the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, of whom I've grown in this truth under. All right, shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, is laboring in the word, and is pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's going to come. Shalom to the Akwat that's listening in. All right, that's remaining true to the faith and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay, you Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations. But your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. All right, I want to say peace and blessings to you all, Barak Thumb. Okay, and like I said, we out here. I'm out here once again. You know what I'm saying? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah to send out the warning. All right, and to chant down the rulership of Babylon the Great. All right, in these latter days, man, in these last days, these last moments. Okay, before all hell breaks loose. Okay, and what I want to go into is the warning concerning these ravenous wolves, man, concerning these false prophets. Okay, concerning those who don't care for the flock, who don't care for the sheep, for the lamb. See what I'm saying? Those who would go contrary, who would walk contrary to what the Lord Yahweh Shai, okay, had commissioned us to do, man. Let me get this here in the book of Matthew. Let's start it off here. All right. This is Matthew chapter 10 and verse 5. It reads, these 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not. All right. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go, preach, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely ye have received, freely give. All right. The Lord makes a distinction between those who serve him and those who don't serve him. All right. And he gives you the things to look for. Okay. Those of you as the hopeful elect, he gives you the clues of what you should be searching for, what you should be looking for in terms of who's leading and who's not leading. All right. Those who's leading in righteousness and those who's leading for their own lucre's sake. You see what I'm saying? You would know them by their fruits, as the scriptures say. Right? You would know them by their fruits. Let's get that real quick. All right, this is Matthew chapter 7 and verse 16. And it reads, ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. All right, and this is what we warning you about, man. This is what we warning you about. That there's going to be, all right, a lot of death and destruction, as the scriptures say. That the slain of the Lord shall be many. All right, and he's going to get this thing started amongst those that are the leaders of Israel. Okay, judgment will start in the house of Israel, and those that's going to get the worst are the ones who was leading the sheep astray amongst Israel. All right. Verse 20. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. Not every one that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. All right. Not everyone that says, Lord, Lord. Not everybody who calls on the name of the name of the Lord Yahweh by Yahushua. All right. How much less these jokers that's calling on the incorrect name? Most High in Christ blessed. Christ blessed. You see what I'm saying? Calling on Yah, calling on Yahuwah, calling on Yehoshua. All right? Calling on Yeshua, Jehovah. Okay? Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father, which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, hath we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name has cast out devils, in thy name done many wondrous works? Right? People gonna be asking that question, man. Verse 23. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. That's the last thing you want to hear. That's the last thing any of us, those of the hopeful elect, want to hear, man. We don't want to hear that. You see what I'm saying? That's why we continue to do this work. That's why we continue to seek its face. All right. That's why we continue on doing what's necessary. All right. We are those unprofitable servants, but we do so willingly. We do it diligently. See what I'm saying? So let me get this in the book of First Corinthians. Okay. As a matter of fact, no. Let me stay in Matthew real quick. Salakia. Let me stay in Matthew real quick. There's something I want to hit. All right, Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24, verse 3. It says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world, man? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. That's the first thing that came out of the Lord's mouth. That's the first thing that the Lord responded with. Take heed that no man deceive you. Why? Because it's going to be much deception in these last days, man. Okay? Much deception. And all the apostles kept talking about the same thing. All of them, all throughout the New Testament, the apostles, beginning with the book of Acts on down, okay? All the apostles, Peter, Paul, James, John, all these great men was warning about these ravenous wolves. They was warning about these jokers that will come and not spare the flock. They won't spare the sheep. Yahushua said, "He is the, he is the good shepherd." Right? Verse 5: For many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, and shall deceive many. Jumping down to verse 11: And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. Here we are. We're so close. All right, we're so close to the end of this thing, man. We can see them. We can see the mark of the beast. We can see it. We can see the infrastructure that's being made all around us. The AI infrastructure. You see what I'm saying? The golden dome. The data centers. All right. All all the subliminals that these jokers are tossing at you left and right through their movies, through their music, through their entertainment, through their politicians. They're all showing you where this thing is going. Okay. We got the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne. All right. Charlemagne sitting here talking about he doesn't know. He doesn't know if he'll take this thing or not. All right. So what's happening? What's happening? These jokers are giving you a gray area. That's the problem. All right. That's the problem. They're giving Israel a gray area. And that's not what the prophets was here to do. The prophets to tell you yay or nay. All right. Anything more than that comes out of evil. Anything more than that is wicked. Right? Let me get this in Isaiah chapter 30. This is Isaiah chapter 30, and let's hit verse 20. And it reads, And though the Lord Yahweh give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers, and thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, This is the way, walk ye in it. When you turn to the right hand and when you turn to the left. All right. So you would hear the correct doctrine. You would hear the correct gospel. You see what I'm saying? The new song, and it would be clear. It wouldn't have any false distinction between the sounds. You see what I'm saying? No confusion, because the Lord's not the author of the confusion, man. He is not the author of confusion. All right. See if I can get this real quick. So this is Isaiah, Slakia, Jeremiah chapter 3. Jeremiah chapter 3, let's start at verse 14. It reads, "Turn, O backsliding children, saith Yahweh, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion, and I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding," man. All right, the Lord would give you pastors according to his heart, man. When you see all these false prophets out here, all these jokers that took the bag, all these jokers that sold out Israel, you see what I'm saying? What's going on with them, man? The doctrine is constantly changing, constantly changing. You know what I'm saying? They're constantly coming with gray areas now. All right, no longer stern in what they said 3 years ago. Now all of a sudden you got ISU, you got IUIC, you got IUIC that's preaching hell doctrine. All right, when they never preached it 3 years ago. They never preached that before 3 years ago. You see what I'm saying? You look at Genesis right now, man. What's going on with them? They're talking about what they're saying. They're saying that that the lake of fire is not in America, it's over in the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? There's another bullshit doctrine. You shouldn't worship Yahweh Shai, man. That's the same shit that Elazar was coming through. The same shit that Elazar was coming with. And look what happened to him. Look what happened to Elazar. All right? He was telling you shouldn't serve Yahweh Shai, man. When the scriptures clearly tell you to kiss the Son and to put your trust in him. Clearly. So you wouldn't reverence the Lord? You wouldn't reverence Yahweh Shai if he was here right now? You see what I'm saying? But that's why it was perfect through the Spirit that they called themselves Sakari, because Sakari didn't follow Yahweh Shai. Sakari, they were zealots. Okay, they were zealots, and they wouldn't follow order. They wouldn't follow the correct way. They wanted to go their own way. You see what I'm saying? And then you got these jokers, all right, all these different camps that talk against the mark of the beast, that talk against the MOTB, man. All right, they talk against it. They talk against the Quran, against the MOTB being this subdermal device that's going underneath the skin, either in your hand or in your forehead, man. And we all see it. We all see this microchip, all right, by the size of a grain of rice. We all see that. We all see that there's an entire system that's going to rely on this on this technology. We can see, all right, these different companies like Neuralink, who's making these chips for the brain. We can all see that. We can all see that. So when you look at that video from Charlemagne the God, all right, in the Breakfast Club, Salakia, all right, and the Breakfast Club, you know, this argument that they have now of I'm not sure if I'll take it or not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That three letter situation, or shall I say that 3-word sentence, is going to cause a lot of problems. It's going to cause a lot of problems, man. All right. It's going to make sure that the undesirables, or shall I say, it's not going to be a problem. It's going to be great, actually. It's going to be great. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be great. I take that back. It's going to be great because it's going to cause all the undesirables to fall in line with the system, because they're going to be like, well, I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's telling you it's black or white. You see what I'm saying? It's real black and white, man. Are you gonna take this thing and get slapped with that lake of fire? Or you gonna give up this life? All right, you're gonna refuse their charagma, and you're gonna suffer for the Lord's sake, man, because it's all gonna come down to faith, one way or another. One way or another, man. You see what I'm saying? The beautiful thing about prophecy is that it makes everybody a believer, either you want to be or not. Either you want to be a believer or not. Prophecy always makes you a believer. You see what I'm saying? If I tell atheists that Leviathan is real, and they say that's just a book of fairy tales, but the moment you see Leviathan, the moment you see this creature that makes Godzilla look like child's play, okay? Then you're gonna understand that there was a prophet among you. Then you're gonna understand that this book is real. You see what I'm saying? None shall want her mate, as the scriptures say, man. No one of these shall fail. Right? And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. This truth is the knowledge and understanding, man. Beginning with the names of Yahweh wa Yahweh Shah, beginning with those two names. Only the prophets will give you that understanding. Only the prophets will give you that wisdom and knowledge. And it is that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that's going to keep you safe and stable. It's going to keep you stable in these times, man, with the faith and the belief in Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, right? But you got all these different camps, that's changing the doctrine. You know what I'm saying? That's trying to make this thing all inclusive all of a sudden. You look at this so-called prince of the power, okay? Look at this guy, man, this clown. All of a sudden, he's on a whole campaign. He's on a whole campaign to save Edomites. All right? That's a clear-cut indication that he either sold out or he never had the oil to begin with. He never had the oil to begin with, man. He came out of his own mouth. Out of his own mouth. I don't know what the nigga's name is. He said his name is Phineas. I think his name's Phineas. Right? But he's not righteous like Phineas was. You see what I'm saying? He's not like that. He don't fit that name. Okay? He don't fit that name, man. So he's out here talking about how to save these other these Edomites, how to save these heathen. Okay? Coming out of his mouth that he was never a prophet. That he ain't no prophet. You know what I'm saying? Well, what you doing holding the scriptures for? What are you doing trying to teach out of scriptures for? You see what I'm saying? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're putting the mark on yourself. You're putting the mark on yourself, man. And then you got Bishop Jephthah. Bishop Jephthah of one body. Now all of a sudden everybody can get into the kingdom. Now all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? It's the doctrine of one West. It's one West's fault. Okay, everything is because of one West. Okay, where the truth came out of. All right, the scriptures say in the last days they will not take heed to sound doctrine. They will not take heed to sound doctrine, man. This is Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 33. It says, "Why trimmest thou way, Slakia? Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways," man. All right? You trimming your ways to seek love from these heathens? Watch what happens when all hell breaks loose out here. Watch what happens. There's not going to be any more love coming from these heathen, man. They're going to show you how they really feel about you. They're gonna show you. You're gonna know that it was all a facade. You're gonna know that it was all fake. It was all fake. All right. Verse 34. Also in thy skirts is found the blood of the souls of the poor innocents. Also in thy skirts is found the blood of the souls of the poor and innocents. I have not found it by secret search, but upon all these. You can't miss it. You can't miss it. This thing's not secret. This thing's not secret. We can clearly see that y'all are leading the flock astray. We can clearly see that their blood is gonna be on your hands, man. It's gonna be on your hands. This ain't no game. It's not a game. So with that said, let me go to First Corinthians. First Corinthians chapter 9 and verse let's start at verse. Let's start at verse 11. It says, if we have sown unto you spiritual things, is it a great thing if we shall reap your carnal things? If others be partakers of this power over you, are not we rather? All right, yeah, and it's important for you to take care of those who's teaching you this truth, those who's laboring in this word. It's important to take care of them. You know what I'm saying? That's an important thing to do. All right, very important. However, you have these people. All right, you got these people who call themselves prophets, who call themselves leaders amongst Israel. Okay, and what are they doing? What are they doing? They're misusing the flock. All right, they're abusing the flock, man. If others be partakers of this power over you, are not we rather? Nevertheless, we have not used this power, but suffer all things, lest we should hinder the gospel of Hamashiach, man. Because what did we read? What did I read first in Matthew, the 10th chapter? All right, verse 6. Freely you have received, freely give. Freely you have received, freely give. So if these jokers, if these jokers out here, you know what I'm saying, in sincerity, they would be like, listen, man, listen, it's it's a good thing for you to help those that taught you. It's a good thing for you to help sustain their lives. All right, but you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. See what I'm saying? If the Lord lays the spirit on you to do so, then that's the Lord's will. All right, that's the Lord's will, man. But we're not gonna be out here, all right, demanding money. You're sitting here talking about you making tens of thousands of dollars a month, okay? But then when you claim that your camera's acting up, you need more funding. While you're filming that you need a new camera. Well, there's obviously another camera that you're using to film yourself making that plea. Unbelievable, man. I was looking at I was looking at this video. I was looking at this video the other day of of that clown Dr. Umar. All right. In that clown Dr. Umar, he's talking about I'm out of money, I'm out of funds. They froze my bank account and all that stuff, man. All right. All these years you've been swindling these niggas, man. All these years you've been swindling them. Talking about you gonna make a school. You never did. Took all that funding. You took all that money. Salak, you took all that money and you didn't give it back. All right. You didn't give it back. You didn't put it towards you said you were gonna put it towards. All right. So it's a lot of hypocritical shit that's going on in Israel, man. You see what I'm saying? Talking about some Queen Mother Goddess. And listen, man, when you got somebody that's talking on that type of time of Queen Mother Goddess, you know what I'm saying, woman worship type shit, understand that that's a ravenous wolf. That is a ravenous wolf, man, because he don't believe shit of what he's talking about. He don't believe none of that. Just like Derek Jackson. just like Derek Jackson. All right, he gets up there with his muscles and shit like that. All right, and then he just exonerates you females, you females, as the elder Hawad likes to say. He exonerates you of all the things, all the shit that you do in this so-called community. All right, exonerates you and makes it seem as if you did nothing wrong. But what's going on the other side? All right, he's not practicing anything that he preaches. All right, and it's a complete clown show. And this Joker got caught doing that shit twice. He got caught doing that shit twice, man. Talk about a loser. So let's continue on. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, let's go to verse 13. Do ye not know that they which minister about holy things live of the things of the temple, and they which wait at the altar are partakers with the altar? All right. Those who labor in this thing, they're not those that's in this thing in terms of speech. You see what I'm saying? In terms of what they say. No, they do this thing, man. They walk this thing. They live it. It's not just something that they want to speak out the side of their necks. All right? That's how you know what a true prophet is. That's how you know a true leader. A true leader, he lives the things that he says. He doesn't just walk, he doesn't just talk it. He lives it. He walks this thing. All right? He moves this way. All right? The scriptures say to be slow to speak, slow to anger. All right? Slow to judgment. Slow to judgment. Learn the other side first before you cast judgment. And yet here you got these jokers out here that's doing the complete opposite of that. They'll get up there and they'll preach it, but they won't live that. All right? And there's always a sifting process. Always a sifting process, man, that's going on. Always a sifting process. And even just recently amongst GMS, there's been sifting that's going on in the body, man. Getting rid of those that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. All right, living two lives and not living the life that they preach. Okay? See what I'm saying? So it's about living this thing, man. It's not about preaching it. It's not just about talking that shit. See what I'm saying? So let me continue. Let's go to verse 14. It says, even so hath the Lord Yahweh ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel. That they which preach of the gospel should live of this gospel. Okay? Be not a hypocrite. Verse 15. But I have used none of these things, neither have I written these things, that it should be so done unto me. For it were better for me to die than that any man should make my glory in vain. All right? We don't glory of ourselves, man. This is not about us. It's not about us, man. It's about the Lord. It's not about how we feel. It's not about what we think. It's about the gospel. All right? We're just mere mortals. I'm simply a vessel. All right? Beginning with the apostles, the Apostle Tahar, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Rachar, and Apostle Ramlab, on down to the bishops. All right? Bishop Sakaran, Bishop Ainat, Bishop Barak, all these bishops to the elders. You know what I'm saying? Elder Yashawamba, Elder Karatazar, all right? Elder Manatazakbar, Elder Aishiyar, so on and so forth, to the brothers, the men on down. All right? We are mere vessels, man. And as the scriptures say, the greater thou art, the more humblest thyself, the more thou humble thyself. You see what I'm saying? Which lets you know clearly this ain't about us. But when you look at the chief priest Alazar, it's all about him. When you look at Brother Naquam, it's all about him. When you look at Priest Hakar now, it's all about him. Okay? When you look at Bishop Nathaniel, it's all about him. They exalt themselves, man. And that's the last thing you want to do in this truth. That's the last thing you want to do. Because the scriptures say, why is earth and ashes proud, man? You ain't nothing more than just ashes walking the earth, man. We're mortals. We ain't got nothing to boast in. We are mortals. I can die in the next 5 minutes. I don't know what's gonna happen in the next 5 minutes to me. What's gonna happen to Zakaria Allah in the next 5 hours? I don't know. You don't know. So you don't boast in yourself, man. Verse 16, 1 Corinthians 9:16. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of. For necessity is laid upon me. Yeah, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel, man. All right. And you look at all these characters out here who's breaking down scripture wrong. All right, who's misusing the scriptures, misusing their office, right? It's gonna be some problems. It's gonna be some problems to all these jokers who want to take away from the scriptures, man. It's gonna be a problem. Let's go to Revelation chapter 22, verse 18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. So if you got the nerve to open up this book, and read the contents within, all right, from Genesis to Revelation, all right, be warned. Be warned. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, the Most High shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, the Most High shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book, man. All right? You don't want to be a part of that judgment. You don't want to be a part of that judgment. Yet we see all these false prophets that are doing that. They are doing that. They are constantly botching the scriptures, man. All right? Don't get started on these Christians. Don't get me started on these Christians because they don't know shit about the Bible. They don't know shit about these scriptures. All right? They don't know nothing. And then you got these clowns. You got these clowns that refuse to deal with Paul's writings. And now they're getting cut and they're getting confounded by Christians, man. Okay? What a disgrace. What a disgrace, man. To get cut by these Christians on the milk scriptures, on the basic level. All right? The scriptures say what? Right? Let's go to Hebrews, Slaki. Slaki, the wind is picking up. All right, this is Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 12. All right, it reads, for when for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of our power, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong drink. So when you look at these characters out here, all right, who clearly don't know what they're talking about, all right, they have need of milk again. They have to be taught all over again, man. All right. For when for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again. So you got to go right back to the basics, man. You got to go back to the basics, brother Naquan. All right, you got to go back to the basics. All right, you jokers that broke off from Sakari, you got to go right back to the basics. You see what I'm saying? Now you look at jokers like Bishop Nathaniel. He's talking about the new moon is the full moon. All right, complete garbage, complete garbage. You see what I'm saying? Talking about you can have sex on the Sabbath. That's not according to the correct gospel. You see what I'm saying? That's not according to the oracles. All right, the principles, the first principles. So you got to go back to the law. Okay, all these certain things that you're supposed to know being teachers, you got to go right back to it. Verse 13, for everyone that useth milk is unskillful. Is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe, man. All right, for he is a babe. See what I'm saying? So if you got these jokers and they can't go into the Maccabees, they can't go into the history, all right, of Antiochus, you know what I'm saying? Understanding the order, the you know, the reign of the Diadochi, the age of the Diadochi and shit like that, when you had the generals Ptolemy, all right, Ptolemy, Cassander, Blastomericus, Seleucus, okay, all taking over in these different parts of the world, Slovakia. All right, all these generals taking over in that time after Alexander the Great. If you don't know this history, how are you going to know what's going on in the New Testament? You see what I'm saying? If you don't know the history of it, this is why you have to go back to the old drawing board. You got to go back to the oracles, the first principles. All right. Verse 14. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. Slack. All right, so let me read that again. Slack. Hebrews chapter 5, verse 14. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. And how are you going to discern these things? How you have to have them exercised? It's through the preaching of this word. All right, it's through the knowledge of the secrets that's hidden within these scriptures, man. Okay? And if you haven't unlocked those secrets, then you got to go right back to the drawing board and listen to those where you first learned. All right? Listen to the prophets. Listen to the prophets, because you got all these jokers that break away from the prophets, that break away from the correct doctrine, and they do their own thing, but they don't do it correctly. They don't do it correctly, man. All right? If you had a falling out from a camp or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It happens. It happens. But that doesn't mean that you go and you just completely gut the whole the whole understanding of the scriptures. You see what I'm saying? Of all the correct breakdowns, the sound doctrine. So yeah, man, let's go back, man. I'm gonna have to close this out pretty soon. It's getting crowded. How's it going? All right, so let's go back to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 16. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yeah, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. For if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward. But if against my will, a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me. All right. Verse 18, what is my reward then? Verily, that when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of Hamashiach without charge, that I abuse not my power in the gospel. All right. So that's pretty much what we going into, man. You know what I'm saying? When you look at these false prophets going along doing the things that they're doing out here, okay, without fear, without any reverence of the Lord, okay, then what you have is what we're seeing taking place in Israel right now. Okay? What you end up having is what we see taking place in Israel right now, man. All right? The Lord is exposing all these false prophets for the things that they do behind closed doors. All right? How they're living two sides, they're living two lives. You see what I'm saying? They essentially haven't let go of the old man. Okay? And this is how you would know these things in these last days. And it has to be exposed. All right? These things have to be exposed. Okay? Let me get a couple words of wisdom, man. Get a couple words of wisdom in Proverbs, man. All right? Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 2. When pride cometh, then cometh shame. But with the lowly is wisdom. All right. You can't be afraid to lower yourself, man. You can't be too prideful to lower yourself. Okay. To bring yourself lower. You can't be too prideful. You can't have your heads all the way up to the clouds. You know what I'm saying? To the point where you got you got to stiff up a lip. You know what I'm saying? A stiff upper lip and you can't be told nothing. All right. So once pride starts creeping in, that's when you know you need to check yourself. You need to check yourself, man. Eleazar, the so-called chief priest, kept going around talking about you can't correct the chief priest. All right. You can't argue with the chief priest. But that makes no sense. That makes no sense, man, because the scriptures say great men are not always wise. All right. So if I see such and such going off, it shouldn't matter what his rank is. It shouldn't matter who he is in the gospel. All right. If he's going off, then he's going off. You have to correct that. All right. You got to talk to that brother. Simple as that, man. You got to talk to that brother. Then you got these different camps out here who allow their women to speak, who allow their women to you know, exert authority over the man. All these different things, man. Look at GOCC. It's a mess. GOCC is a mess. IUIC is a mess. Okay. Now you got Bishop Nathaniel walking around with a cowboy get up. All right. Calling himself deleting an Edomite. All right. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. All right. You're bringing blame into the ministry. And that's what we was told not to do, man. Don't bring blame to the ministry, to the brotherhood. Then you had Eleazar talking about brotherhood of a breakdown. Like, that's some bullshit, man. That's some bullshit. All right, that's some bullshit. Nothing comes before this truth. Nothing comes before this gospel, before the correct doctrine, because this is about the Lord's work. This ain't about us having a cookout somewhere. All right? The Lord's about to make an example out of all these false prophets. He's about to make an example out of all these jokers in Israel, you know what I'm saying, who are who constantly exalt themselves, right? Proverbs chapter 15, verse 7. Let me start at verse 3. It says, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good, man. All right? There's nothing you can hide from the Lord. There's nothing you can't play games with the Heavenly Father, man. You can play games. I think I was listening to Elder Hawad the other day. He said you can play games with your dog, you can play games with your wife, you can play games with your children, all right? But you can't play games with the Heavenly Father, man. Can't play games with him. Verse 4, a wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach of the spirit. Okay? And Eleazar was completely perverse. And what did he end up doing? He ended up telling his own congregation that you were a fool to follow me. You were a fool to believe in me. You see what I'm saying? All right. That's the talk of someone who cared nothing for the sheep. All right. Verse 5. A fool despiseth his father's instructions, but he that regardeth reproof is prudent. And that could be meant in the spiritual as well, man. Because those who teach you are essentially those are your fathers. They're essentially your spiritual fathers, man. And if you're not taking heed to what they taught you, all right, if you're not taking heed to the correct doctrine, okay, then you're going to go astray. You're going to go off, man. In the house of the righteous is much treasure, but in the revenues of the wicked is trouble. In the revenues of the wicked is trouble. All right. In the house of the righteous is found treasures, man. Much treasure. But in the revenues of the wicked is trouble. You're gonna have much trouble in this thing. Much trouble in this thing if you're seeking the riches of the world, man. Look at Eleazar. I keep bringing him up because he's the perfect example. He's the perfect example. Look at what he's doing now, man. He's sitting here on TikTok live talking about sports. Talking about sports. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do, man. But he done completely abandoned the whole flock. The whole congregation, he done abandoned them. All right? So what's the Lord gonna do to you? What's the Lord gonna do to your ass? Sitting here talking about fuck what are you talking? He was talking about some team or whatnot, wearing all orange and shit. He was wearing orange. I was like, this goofy ass nigga, man. This goofy ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? Then he was just on no jumper podcast. He was just on no jumper podcast, and then he gets this dude. He gets this dude, Captain Tazariak, on the phone. Like, come on, man. Come on. What is this? All right. It's a bunch of foolishness. There's a lot of folly in Israel, and the Lord's about to shut all this shit down. All right. It's Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 34. Let's see, Ezekiel chapter 34. Let's start at verse 9. It says, therefore, O ye shepherds, hear the word of the Lord Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh power. Behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will require my flock at their hand, and cause them to cease from feeding the flock. All right? Isn't that what he just did with Eleazar? Isn't that what he just did? All right? He just took that candle straight from him. Just took it from him, man. All right? Snatched it from his ass. This is a fearful thing to fall in the hands of the Lord, man. And I will require my flock at their hand, and cause them to cease from feeding the flock. Neither shall the shepherds feed themselves anymore, for I will deliver my flock from their mouth, that they may not be meat for them. For thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I, even I, will both search my sheep and seek them out, as a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered. So will I seek out my sheep, and will deliver them out of all places where they have been scattered in this cloudy and dark day. All right? So the mouths of these false prophets have to be stopped, man. It's got to be stopped, because this thing has gone on far too long. All right, far too long, and the elect, all right, the elect are being sealed, man. You see what I'm saying? If the 144,000 haven't fully been sealed yet, they are close. They are so close to being sealed, because you got to look at the way these devils is moving. Look at the way they're moving. Look at the things that they're implementing now, right now, before your very eyes. All right. So this thing's about to get going, man. The party's about to stop. The party's about to stop, and all hell's about to break loose, man. All hell's about to break loose out this bitch. Okay? Ezekiel 34 and verse 2. It reads, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say unto them, thus saith Yahweh power unto the shepherds. Woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flocks? Should not the shepherds feed the flocks? All right, you caring about your own self. You caring about your own lives, your own livelihood. You caring about your own pleasures. Okay, the Lord don't give a damn about none of that, and He's about to show you what it is real soon, man. Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little women and little children and women, but come not near any man that is the mark. And begin in my sanctuary, begin in Israel. You see what I'm saying? Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. They began with the leaders, the elders. They began with the prophets. With the not the prophets, the false prophets. They began with the priests. Okay, with the high priests, with the bishops, with the deacons. Okay, they started with them, man. So it's about to be real bloodshed out here, and the prophets have been warning. The prophets have been warning, man. It's gonna be a time where you're going to know that a prophet was among you when all these things happen. All right? Prophecy makes a believer out of everybody, man. So I'm going to cut that there. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. All right? This has been your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. All right? In closing, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wachakudash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and who teach well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.